Okay, Jono, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me? See me?
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Guys, doing. Thank you so much for your time, Jess and Jono.
Of course. Doing pretty good. Just kind of slept in a little bit because it's a Monday where no one's working and getting to it.
Sure. I mean, first of all, congratulations, guys, on a fantastic new album. Sick of Saying Sorry just came out Friday. What an album.
Yes.
What an album, guys. It's been nonstop here in this household. And we'll definitely get to it. But first, I wanted to ask you both, Jess, Jono, how are you guys the past, 2.5, almost now 3 months? How have they been for you guys?
We're keeping it together.
It's definitely, I think everybody's has gotten their ups and downs. And it's a lot of the same, but we were very happy to be able to release this and work on this whole campaign during this time.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, I want to talk about the new album. But first, I'd like to go back to the beginning, if you will. High Waisted began in 2014 in New York's Lower East Side. Jess, maybe for you, how did the band start, or how did you meet Jono? I know some founding members have moved on, but tell us about the baby steps of High Waisted, if you will.
Jono and I met dancing at Mercury Lounge and went our separate ways, me to go see a concert, him to go get some pizza. But we just kind of bonded immediately and started jamming on another project, and it was kind of just not happening easily. So I was like, hey, I have a bunch of surf songs. Maybe that would be more fun. And sure enough, it just clicked, and here we are. Fast forward to 2020.
Unbelievable. Do you remember the song, Jono, that you guys were dancing to?
Oh, man, I don't remember the band we were dancing to that day. I was shooting a show. And
was it Tropics of Pisces?
No, that was later at Pianos.
Who was it? I don't remember. We should probably figure that out.
It was a double show, though, so whatever show it was, I have photos from the early show and the late show. So that's kind of funny.
That's great.
But yeah, started like that, and really we soon after brought on Steven Nielsen, who was one of the founding members, him and Jeremy Hansen, and kind of got things kicked off.
Yeah.
On Ludlow.
That's great. Yeah, and obviously, the music of you guys is rooted in 60s surf rock. Obviously, that's like with the beginnings, acts like the Ventures, Dick Dale, the Safaris, they're all over the DNA of this band. But you add your own kick to it. Absolutely. You do definitely add your own kick. Tell us a little bit about your influences, if you will, guys, just for a second.
Gosh, I always say New York City, like not even music references, just like the old ethos of like showing up with the suitcase in your hand and figuring it out. And I think that like that old rock and roll sensibility definitely plays a role in our sound and vibe.
Yeah, definitely. And Jono, obviously, you guys had such great acclaim, Jono. NME magazine called you the buzz band to watch. GQ declared you the ultimate party band, no pressure. Okay. What does it feel like to have these accolades fall on you guys?
It feels cool. It's great. It's a little weird sometimes when you're out on tour and that's how people greet you. We're really just we definitely love to party. And, we're getting older now, and especially in a quarantine like this, it's just I don't know, we like to have a good time, and the shows are that good time, and our friends know when they come out to do that, they're going to see a good time. The balloons and the booze kind of flow naturally. Confetti, yeah. This one getting in trouble with confetti all the time.
That's amazing.
We threw our last booze cruise this past year, last summer, and we always try to clean up this boat, but
Tell us a little bit about this booze cruise, if you will, Jono, because this is fascinating stuff.
So we usually rent a boat for someone's birthday, and it's usually many people's birthdays, but it's neither of our birthdays. But we end up throwing this booze cruise with a bunch of different different bands over the years, different people coming in to DJ, and there's usually a liquor sponsor. Our friend Britt Parry has worked for PBR and now White Claw, which is, I want to say, Mike's Hard is like the parent company or all of that, and has been a big supporter of it. And we're like, hey, we want to do this thing. And she's like, sure, I can throw you a little bit of money. And really I can throw you free booze. And we usually partner with her and some other people. And that's the big thing. It kicks off and, everybody's got an open bar thing going, and it just kind of it lets the night go. But it's only 3.5 hours. But you would not believe how wild people get in that amount of time. And it's usually me and her that are not really drinking at all, because we got to make sure that people are okay and get off the boat. And then we have an after party and celebrate everything.
That's epic.
Oh my gosh.
Epic.
We have to kind of pump the brakes on it, because I don't know how we're going to top it, without getting a bigger boat.
Yeah. Good things need to have an ending.
Yes. You don't want to be on season 10 going, why are we doing
this?
Yeah.
You don't want to jump the shark, I guess. All right. That's epic though. And Jess, obviously, I mean, your concerts are basically dance parties, and, haven't seen anything like them really. I mean, just scouring the online archives. We're playing, for example, Riot Fest in Chicago to 40,000 people. Tell us, for those of us that have not been, the orchestrators of massive parties with almost, 50,000 people. Tell us what that feels like.
It's scary. I still get very nervous going on stage. It's funny. Sometimes the shows with 40,000 people versus 40, they feel the same, because it's really on you to bring your energy and not get caught looking at people's eyes and wondering, are they enjoying it? Everyone's moving. What's happening?
And then going, where am I in the song?
Yeah, and then oh crap, what's going on?
Right, you still gotta play the song.
Yeah, there's just so much to worry about. It's don't trip on your dress, don't trip on your shoes. Did you click that on right? Oh yeah, smile. It can be very nerve-wracking. It's funny because this is probably the longest I've gone without any sort of performance in front of people, and you hear this a lot in theater, breaking the wall, but getting that crowd reaction and being fed by the crowd energy is so important. I know I definitely miss it. I actually just read a really great piece by Dave Grohl was talking about that, feeding off of the energy of a stadium. And I think unless you're a performer, unless you've experienced that, the way you miss it will never be understood.
But as a fan, people are experiencing what you're talking about, reading about that in the same way, people being I can't feel the vibration in the same way from someone's live stream, let alone they're playing solo or a duo, and they're normally a full band. I was in the car over the weekend, and I was very hungover. We celebrated our album release on Friday night, and I went pretty hard, just a few of us over here. And I'm sitting in the car, and I had to turn up the radio as loud as I possibly could, because I feel like I haven't felt that in quite some time.
Yeah.
Well, it almost hurt, but that's what people miss. They miss that rawness of things.
Yeah.
I think that Dave Grohl piece went pretty viral, and I think we can all agree as music lovers, right? I don't think there's a substitute for that connection that you guys embody so well. You guys are this Bruce Springsteen, the River era of 2020, basically, the way you just crush into the crowd, surf, no F's given. It's epic. So I can't wait for that to come back. So, okay, moving on to you and Ludlow.
Yeah.
That you mentioned, that just epic album. I mean, there's some jewels in there. Party in the Back, Shanghai Spy, what a beaut. But Detonate, Detonate is my absolute favorite. That is what a gem. But one of your music videos, right, for Hey Hey, is a really cool concept. It's an interactive 360 video. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about where that idea came from and a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, we actually didn't have much to do with that. That was Refinery29.
It was Jackie.
It was Jackie Huntington. Yeah. She's a brilliant creator. I think she's out in LA now. But they sort of orchestrated the whole thing and understood us of what we love in terms of bright colors and inflatables and confetti and balloons. It's pretty easy to make something look high-waisted. Our look is so distinctive. That was actually a really beautiful day. It was a nice spring day in New York City on a rooftop, and lots of drinks to go around. I could totally, I wish we could have a day like that right now. It sounds really fun.
A very unique day, right? Pre-pandemic for sure. Mm-hmm. And okay, so you mentioned how much you miss the interaction with the fans on the road. when you guys did the Coke Spit EP, you guys were on the road like most of the year. Is there something that you don't like about being on the road? Is there something that you like being home about or something?
Oh, I think I know what it is for both of us that we don't like. We call it party jail.
Oh man.
It's like when you are, because people like they want to hang out with you, like they're excited, you're like you just played a good show. They're like, come stay at our house. You do that, it's great. But like by 2 a.m. we've been driving all day. We played a show. Like I'm exhausted. Like I actually need to sleep sometimes, as humans do. And it's like
more for vocals.
Yeah, for my vocals too. So it's like you get there and it's like, okay, like I just need to take a little sleep, and like you can't because the party's going on, so you're like stuck in this party jail. And there's been times where John and I have like blown up our air mattress like in the middle of the party, and we're just like, okay, we're gonna go to bed now, but you guys just keep going. Like we can sleep through this. It's chill. We got it. So yeah, party jail. I think everybody in a band on tour understands what that is.
That's epic party jail. That's great. And okay, and obviously your new baby, Sick of Saying Sorry. I think the first thing that jumps out, and you definitely get it by like the second full listen, is how the first album, it seems like it's like YOLO, living in the moment. Like, let's crush it right now because why not? In this one, there is definitely a little bit of a reality check to it, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of perfectly timed with the pandemic. Like, I feel like we didn't plan that. Like, I always say, like, sometimes I'm like secretly like telling the future through songwriting. And I think the vibe for this record just like really fits the way the world feels right now.
Yeah. You just felt something was off.
Yeah, just a little off. Exactly.
Interesting. And Jono, the album was produced obviously by Tad Kubler of the Hold Steady, and it was even mixed by Saves the Day, Arun Bali. What new elements did they bring to this record that you didn't have before?
I think that, we looked at everything from the start, and we spent a lot of time in pre-production kind of combing through songs and making sure that they felt as dynamic as they needed to. We weren't afraid to completely, at times, feel like we were kind of starting over. When you play a song on the road, you play a song at a lot of different shows, and then someone goes, all right, this is great, but what, where's this? Let's add this element. And then sometimes you're making these changes weeks before you're recording the final, and sometimes you're making changes. I mean, one of the songs we finished like takes before the final take, like in the studio. And that's like, that was working with Tad. He's a mad scientist of music for sure. And then for Arun, I mean, the dude just like how much guitar experience, tones, and everything else, he was able to help us narrow down where we really wanted the things to settle, in the final versions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arun also did the split 7-inch that you mentioned earlier. He mixed that for us. So he kind of already knew what we like and where our tastes are, So
yeah. Firebomb and Free Throw on that were they were songs that were recorded during that process. And we decided they wouldn't make that Sick of Saying Sorry. And they were a little too different, and we kind of made that decision, and we're like, hey, this is the perfect thing for us to get to know each other. And he loved it, and we really liked it, and it worked out. Pretty
epic, and amazing collection of songs. Jess, I particularly want to ask you. I mean, there's some lyrics like in Ice Crying. I love the melancholy. It's we both are guilty of editing what could harm the world. The night won't surrender to darkness or lose the hope. For great songwriting moments like this, do the words come first and then comes the music, or do you get the tune first and then you fill it in with the lyrics?
Oh gosh, it's always a little different for each song. I am writing constantly. I have like archives of thoughts and feelings. So usually like a melody will come first, and I will be able to place words to music second. Like once I know like what the song wants based on like the music vibe, so but again, it changes. Sometimes it starts like with a fully formed chorus. I'm like, this is the chorus, this is great, now we have to write a song around it. So I don't know, and I think as a songwriter it's fun and challenging to kind of listen to what the song wants and go that route.
It's interesting. It sounds like a living being. And how do you know when it's done?
Yeah.
Or how do you know when you feel at ease letting it go?
Yeah, you don't. I don't think no, like even now, like I listen to Sick of Saying Sorry or On Low Low, and I'm like, man, what if we like changed, but like you can't, like you have to treat it like a photograph. Like once you take it, that's it, it's done. And then you have to just take those ideas that you're feeling and put them into something new.
Epic, epic. And speaking of photographs, Jonah, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of your side interests. Jonah, you're a photography lover, right?
Yeah, yeah. I spent, what is it now? The last 10 plus years doing photography, different industries and stuff. Spent a lot of time in actually filmmaking as well.
Ah, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it kind of it bleeds over because Jess has an art history background as well. It's pretty cool to be able to be on the same page. I mean, not always, but generally we're on the same page with the aesthetics of what we're doing. And it allows us to be our own art directors, whether we're doing the photography ourselves for any of the project or we're working with some of our friends and kind of leading them to what we want to do. It's just like it's amazing to be able to do that, where you watch record labels of the highest caliber not be able to achieve this stuff and kind of fumble.
Yeah.
wow,
Like I'm
formidable.
Jono's #1 fan for photography. I love his collection. I call it the archive. Like there's always like new gems that he'll
Yeah.
find in there, and a lot of it's on film too, which is super cool.
Interesting. Yeah, the little I saw from Jono online was outstanding. Just a unique perspective of New York City is what I saw. Really cool
Mhm.
stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you guys have been so cool with your time. Just have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Jessica, we've heard your guitar collection is it's better.
I
It's even better than your shoe collection.
Yes, it
Uh,
is.
Care to elaborate?
you're like starting to rival Mike Campbell. Which is like really
Ooh.
kind of wild. Have you seen his videos lately?
Yes.
Steven keeps sending them to me. I mean, Jess has guitars that at this point she hasn't even touched.
Yeah, it's bad.
What year Mustang was that you picked up? And it's just sitting in the studio.
I don't remember. I don't even know. It was pretty. I bought it.
It's those situations where like you have to have the philosophy of like never sell gear, and then also never turn down a bad deal, even if you can't
Good
really
deal.
afford it. Sorry, never turn down a good deal if you can't
Right.
afford it, because you'll look back and be like, why did I do that?
Why did it? Yeah, exactly.
We've
And I
all
have
done
I have a
that
guitar
already.
that got away. There's one
Yeah.
Jazz Master I wish I had not sold, and I sold it to a buddy who plays it and tours with it. So it's having a great life. But I tell
You're
him
like,
all,
I can.
I miss you. I tell him all the time, like if you like, just give it back. Just sell it back to me. I'll pay twice what you bought it for me for. So
That's fascinating. That's
yeah.
fascinating. So they have their own room, or actually, you live in their house. How does that work?
Yeah, no, I mean they technically like between Jono and I are both like caretakers for them. Like a lot of them, Jono has like a house with a studio in it that we record and rehearse out of, and a lot of them live there. Thank you, Jono, for taking care of my babies. And then some are in my apartment here. Like they're all over the place. Like in New York, it's not a lot of storage, so I'm scattering them about.
Now
Yeah.
we've got a vintage gear because we love how that stuff is constructed. We love how it sounds. It's definitely become a thing where we have like a Tascam 388 that Steven, our old bandmate, bought, but we also have like all these old microphones, and I have drum kits from the late 50s and the 70s, and just like it's also like when you get into this, I can imagine this is what like classic car traders feel like as well. You're tapped into these different networks and the stuff pops up, and then suddenly you have a deal sitting in your lap that you're like, I can't say no to a $300 Vistalite. Like I can't say no to a $1,500 Jazzmaster from 60, whatever. Like
Right.
you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we all have our vice, but that's pretty epic. That's a pretty good one to have. That's a pretty good one to have. Great. And all right. And Jessica, you mentioned you met Jono in the Mercury Lounge, which is
Yeah.
one of your famed DJ stomping grounds. So just wanted to ask you, what are some of the craziest things you've seen in the New York City nightlife spinning records?
Oh God. I like when people limbo, like they'll break out in limbo parties. I enjoy making an entire dance floor get down like on their knees during a breakdown and then like pop up and explode when the music drops. I like when people put their friends on their shoulders and like dance like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the tame stuff. I'm sure I've seen a bunch of terrible stuff. I can't even
I mean, like, so Conan Moccasin made the entire crowd sit down at Mercury Lounge one night,
Yeah.
which is wild that he even played there. But okay, we went to that. We've seen.
I stole that move for
I know,
DJing.
I know.
It's
Mac
mine now.
DeMarco jumped off of the balcony while he was sick with a fever at our other favorite home, Bowery Ballroom. I'm like trying to think of other like really silly, wild stuff that we've seen artists do.
I mean, I've seen like in terms of like what I've seen while DJing. I mean, like tons of crazy. Like one of the clubs I DJ at is like it's called Berlin, and there's like a huge VIP section right next to me. So I've seen some like wild behavior happen in the VIP section with like bottle service and models and like New York's, you know, wealthy. But in terms of like cool, like down and dirty stuff, I mean, we had some good times at Gateway back in the day.
Sure.
Back when there's this bar that's like not a bar, but it's a bar called Neverland.
Oh God, yeah, when Naomi Campbell yelled at me. And do you
Okay,
remember that?
go there. You have to go there.
Okay, we were in an empty bar. It wasn't even, the night hadn't started yet, and apparently Naomi Campbell is like part of an owner or such a big influencer in this space. And our friend Johnny, Australian LA friend through that whole scene, Fascinator, invites Jess to DJ, and we're like there, and the night hasn't started, so Jess is kind of just like getting set up, and this woman walks up, cigarette in hand, you know, because we're in this space that's again not really a space, and just like lays it out, and we're both kind of like, what?
Like
And
yells
then-
at me. She's like, you need to play more Rolling Stones, you need to play more blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm setting up. Like, I'm not even going yet. And I'm like, and I was like, excuse me, like, who are you? Like, I got sassy back because I didn't realize it was a supermodel.
Yeah.
But I was like, can you please not ash on my gear? Like, get away from me.
You know, just like straight over it.
No, and then the owner, like our buddy came over and was like, that was Naomi, be nice. I was like, okay, sorry.
Oops. Okay, I'll play some Rolling Stones. What do you
Like,
want?
only
Give me
in New York.
shelter. Yeah, that's great.
Only in New York.
Guys.
Such a story.
What an epic story. Perfect place to leave. Just last question, guys. What is next for you guys? Obviously, the album's out. In normal times, I would imagine you'd be rocking the country, throwing this to your fans. What's the plan going forward for you guys with this cycle?
You know, like, I think the only plan we have is to not have a plan. Like, it just seems silly right now. Like, you know, New York is not open yet. Nothing's open.
Yeah.
So I think just work on writing the next record. Like, if everything right now is just going to be shared digitally and touring's not really an option, then I might as well take this time to do what we do best, and that's make music. Yeah, there will always be more parties. Well, the parties will happen.
Yeah.
They'll be back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. We have one more music video that we haven't dropped yet. That's been done for now almost 18 months. It was the first one we filmed. It's going to be the last one. Well, not the last one, but the next one that we release. And we have a college radio campaign, which is, again, a weird thing to say right now. That's going to be starting at the start of June, which we'd normally be going to colleges and kind of wrapping up and doing shows for the end of the year and all of that. But we're still going to hold true to that and push that out to the fans out there.
Yeah, and I'll be doing some more DJ sets that we'll be promoting on our socials and.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Jess is doing. You're gonna do like solo acoustic, right?
Yeah.
Jess is doing a solo acoustic with Emmett Kai and Francis. I'm blanking right now.
I haven't had coffee yet.
Miles Francis. There we go. For the Sultan Room, which is a wonderful new venue in New York and Brooklyn, and they've only been open for about a year. So we're going to do that and support that.
Epic.
And there's some other local venues in the area like Alphaville and Our Wicked Lady and places that are doing like to-go cocktails. And they're kind of like, they're making cocktails to support the bands and the bands are supporting them. So they're able to do this to-go stuff. And some of them are also offering merch. So you can go in and like pick out merch or order it. I don't know. The communities are doing some cool stuff. So
yeah, lots of like teaming up with local businesses and venues that have helped us over the years. It's really important to us.
That's really cool. That's really cool, guys. Well, can't wait for you guys to be on the road. I encourage everyone that can see you whenever we come back, because the industry will come back.
Yes,
So
it will.
whenever, like, everyone go catch this band. You'll have the time of your life. Guys, I'll go catch you. And if you're ever in South Florida and Miami, like, for
Yo,
sure,
big shouts to Jesus Ortega with the Electric Supply Company, and Gabe Norwood, who now lives up here, and all those friends and people that have supported us when we're down there. We never played Grumpy's, but we've been down there. We've played Storage Containers. We've definitely hung out in South Florida, but we can't wait to come to Miami.
Exactly.
Yeah, Miami 2021.
Oh, yeah. Stronger and better than ever. You guys will be back.
Yeah.
Great, guys. Thank you so much. Best
Thank
of luck.
you.
Continue
Thanks for
writing
having
this.
us.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you.